What's up, New York Mets Nation, and welcome to the Bat Cave. I'm your host, the Bat Fry, Kenny Fry, and it is Hump Day. Hump Day, yes, it is. Absolutely. Wednesday, September the 11th, and we all know that date, that which shall live in infamy. Of course, being a New York Mets fan, um, New York, the main uh, center of attack on that day, September 11th of 2001. So we remember all those that lost their lives, the events of September 11th, and where we were at those. You always hear people talking about that were alive. Then it's so long ago now, but it still feels fairly recent. But anyway, it's so long ago that you kind of forget, kind of lose track of time that there has been you know generations born since then. So, uh, the same question comes up every year. Where were you when, the planes hit the World Trade Center? And, it's, every year it comes up. And, my experience was, I was at home, sitting on my couch, just woke up, maybe a half hour before that, got myself a bowl of cereal. I don't remember if it was Fruity Pebbles or if it was Fruit Loops, but it was cereal of a fruity, sugary blend. And I was watching Little House on the Prairie. As odd as that sounds, I know that might take some of you back a little bit, like oh my god. But yes, I was watching Little House on the Prairie, and that is what it is. And I remember I don't remember. I think the show just ended, and like you had a commercial break between the start of the next episode, and the news came on. And I remember watching it, sitting there, not really thinking much about it, and it felt like a trailer for a movie. And I was talking about this with a young fellow I work with last night at work. He asked what I was doing when September 11th. Now this kid is 19 years old, so he was not alive yet. But anyway, I told him what I was doing. I said a few years before 2001, we had the movie Independence Day released, and for those that were alive or that might remember when Independence Day was released into theaters and stuff, the trailers that were released for Independence Day made it feel like a news broadcast. So if you're watching TV and a trailer for Independence Day came up, it was a news broadcast where they're talking about aircraft entering the Earth's atmosphere, unidentified flying object, and stuff. And it would show reporters out in the streets talking about it and pointing to this alien aircraft, and then it attacks, and everything goes to shit. So I'm watching the news broadcast, and that Little House on the Prairie was on TNT or TBS. I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of those two. And like I said, it was an episode just ended, and I was waiting for the next episode of Little House to start. And I remember watching this news broadcast, thinking, "What in the hell movie is this?" And just watching and watching, and it's continuing. And I'm like, I don't think this is a movie. I think this is live. This is this is actually happening in New York City. And I just remember like just being absolutely dumbfounded and horrified, and then watching that second plane come around and strike the second tower. I guess the image, the video clip that I remember watching was, I think it was a helicopter. It had to be a helicopter, right? In the sky, kind of just circling the towers. I believe it was probably a news helicopter. And you could see the airplane from a distance, just approaching, and then just smash. Absolutely unbelievable. And for the rest of that day, everybody was glued to their televisions and television sets, and talking to loved ones. Can you believe what's happening? I can't believe this. And hearing different stories about terror and heroism, from those first responders running up the buildings and such. It's something I couldn't imagine doing, and I'm okay with admitting that I don't know if I have the courage that those men and women showed that day to run into those buildings, to run up all those flights of stairs to try to rescue people, or even those that were in the building working that were helping people that were like stuck in stairways or that were too scared or too tired to continue. You hear stories about people helping other people down flights of stairs, and people helping people out in the streets, and it's unfortunate sometimes that it's a tragedy that has to happen to bring people together, but that's usually when you see the best part of humanity, of humans, of people, is when there is a tragedy, when something does go bad. You see people come together, help each other, look out for each other, and stuff like that. So you've seen a lot of that on September 11th and the days after, when crews were picking through rubble looking for survivors. Unfortunately, not finding very many, which you know, and but just hearing about the tales and the correspondences, of the firefighters going up those towers. And then United Flight 93 that crashed in rural Pennsylvania, out western PA. I live in PA, so not really close to where the plane landed. But here now, those passengers took over the plane, tried to get it back from the terrorists, and crashing that into the field in Pennsylvania instead of the White House or wherever else the intended target may have been. So today's a day of remembrance, and of all those those people in those towers at the Pentagon, and on the airplanes and stuff that lost their lives, and the way it affected people afterwards. And like I said, not only that, the tragedy, but also the heroism of the people that either gave their life or risked their life to help people, uh, to get people to safety, to get people out of harm's way and stuff like that. So it's not only a day of tragedy, but you can also look at it as a day of humans coming together, people coming together, helping each other, where 9 times out of 10, they probably won't even look at each other walking down the street. But on that day, they helped each other off the street. So not to get all sappy or whatever, it's actually going on a little bit longer than I thought it would, but I just wanted to throw that out there, and give my thoughts on what I was doing September 11th. Like I said, watching Little House on the Prairie and eating Fruity Pebbles. And then I remember my wife, we were just dating then, and her being very upset. Her dad was working at a little, I guess, a 40 in Eatontown Gap is pretty close. He was working there as part of the reserves and stuff like that. And, him having to do what he had to do. And, he was, called to help out with different things in a different state then. And, he was gone for a little bit. But I just remember how upset she was, and how it affected her. And, trying to comfort her, saying everything's going to be fine and stuff. And knowing that nothing was ever going to be the same again, which, you look back at that time, and look today, nothing's the same. I remember before September 11th, gas being, basically $1 a gallon. I worked at a gas station, so I for a couple months out of high school before I went into the old factory business, working in factories. And I think it was 1999, 2000. The gas station I'd work at, gas would be $1.01. The gas station across the street would be 99 cents, and it always flip flop. But not long after September 11th, gas, more often than not, was above the $2, $2.50, $3 mark. So, not only that, but uh, flights, airplanes and stuff, the way that was disrupted, still is much different. Like the security protocols and stuff, what you can and can't do, what you can and cannot take on the plane and stuff. It's so many different things, and so many different things have changed since then, and it's unfortunate, but also it may be for the better. Security restrictions and stuff like that, as tedious and as pain in the ass it might be, is for your best interest. So, and a lot of that came about because of September 11th. So I remember I was working at a steel factory then, and we were working one shift. Well, then after September 11th, we basically almost got shut down. It was work got very, very slow, and a lot of people either left for different jobs or people got laid off and never called back, and shifts changed and stuff, and the way we worked changed, and finally everything picked back up and started returning to normal for the most part, work wise, but the day-to-day life has always been different since then. So I got a comment to read here real quick, and it's Eileen. What's up, Eileen? Hump day. There it is. Hump day. It's Wednesday. Absolutely. All right, so let's get to the Mets talk there. Enough about being a downer here with September 11th. Not that I intended to be, but it's like I said, it's a day of remembrance and a day of celebration of those heroes that went into those buildings and were on those airplanes, and let's not forget the service members that had to go across seas to I guess exact a little bit of revenge. So, but anyway, let's move on from that. Last night's the Mets lose 6-2 to the Toronto Blue Jays. A tough night for David Peterson. He's been lights out pretty much since he's come back from the IL, and this is probably his worst start that I can think of anyway since coming back. So with that loss, he falls to 9-2. He went 4 1/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 5 runs, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts on 76 pitches. That raises his ERA to 2.98. From what I watched last night, I probably watched maybe like 6 innings, 6 of the 9 innings. I did listen to the last inning on the radio as I was on my way to work, but I did watch about 6 of the innings, and the most of his pitches that he threw. He just had a hard time. He had a tough time with command. That's what it seemed like to me. He wasn't able to locate the pitches that he normally has been locating this season, and he almost as tough as it sounds, as scary as it sounds, he almost kind of looked like the David Peterson from last season or previous seasons, and that scares the crap out of me. He's been a big part to get us where we are right now in this wild card race, and he's going to be a huge part going down this stretch with some really tough competition to keep us in this race and hopefully to get us into the playoffs. So hopefully this is just a bump in the road for David Peterson. Hopefully next time he's out there, which is maybe this upcoming Sunday against the Phillies. The Mets have a game today against the Blue Jays. Then they have an off day Thursday, and then they start a weekend series with the Phillies Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So if he were to pitch again, he'd be on regular rest. It would be Sunday against the Phillies. Right now, from according to ESPN, they have him scheduled to pitch Monday against I think it's the Nationals. And I just don't see that happening. I see them switching that up and him going on regular rest on Sunday against the Phillies. That makes the most sense to me. That's who I would want out there against the Phillies. And but we'll talk about that in a little bit as we move along here. One nice thing last night from pitching wise was Brazoban. He went 2 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 1 strikeout. I thought he looked sharp. I didn't see his whole outing. The whole 2 innings pitch. I started getting ready for work then, boots on, laces up, get my ass in the truck. But I thought he, from what I did see, I thought he looked really sharp. He looked good, and that's good news for the Mets. We really need his arm down the stretch here. In the bullpen to help us out, help us bridge some gaps there to our back half of the bullpen. To get to The guys like Reed Garrett, Edwin Diaz, and stuff like that. Excuse me. Got my Wayne Enterprises coffee mug here. All right. So yeah, hopefully this was just a mirage, a bump in the road for David Peterson. We'll have to see what David Peterson shows up against the Philadelphia Phillies hopefully against the Phillies on Sunday. If not then it'd be the Nationals on Monday. Hey, Yuki Matsui. It's been a while, buddy. He says, LFGM, let's effing go Mets. Absolutely, sir. Phils versus Mets, the war at the Fry's house. Oh, yes, it is. It will be the war at the Fry's house. It's kind of funny. I was watching the Mets last night, and they were talking. They brought up about the Phillies. What were they, losing or winning last? I don't remember. Oh, they were winning last night, I think it was. And Schwarber got hurt. And Schwarber has been hot as shit, man. That guy, he's been stroking. I guess I'll use that word. He's been stroking pretty well. Been hitting some bombs, and he's just been tearing it up. Give Schwarber credit. He's been tearing it up recently. But last night they said on the Mets broadcast, SNY, that Schwarber got hurt. He was taken out of the game as he slid back to first base on a pickoff attempt. So I'm not sure what's up with him. I would be just fine and dandy if Schwarber was not able to play for at least 2 weeks. I'm cool with that. I have zero problem with Schwarber being out for at least 2 weeks. And yeah, so. But my daughter, I sent her a text when they mentioned it on SNY. She was down in her room doing God only knows what, and I shot her a text. I said Schwarber's hurt, and she came racing upstairs. What do you mean? What happened? And that's me doing her voice. And I said, a pickoff attempt, sliding back to first base. They said he hurt his elbow, so I don't know how bad it is or whatever. So they stomped away. So yeah. But it's gonna be a lot of fun here at the Fry House over the next couple of days, over the next couple of weeks. The Mets have a couple series with the Phillies, a couple in New York, and a few in Philadelphia. So yeah, 3 in New York and 4 in Philly. Get a Bryce Harper voodoo doll. Yes, I I should get a Bryce Harper voodoo doll. I said this a bunch of times. I love Bryce Harper. I really do. I like his hustle, his mentality, and and then I see the other day how he thought he had a home run, and he's kind of jogging and it hit the top of the fence, and he has to run, and I think he only got a single out of it, maybe, or something like that. And I think there's something else happened that inning where he ended up not scoring, and he was kind of pissed off. But then you know what? He took it like a man. He went over and he went to Rob Thompson and apologized. So again, another thing to like about Bryce Harper. I do think the guy can be a douchebag once in a while, but I like Bryce Harper, the player. I would like Bryce Harper on my team. If I had a team and they said you want Bryce Harper, I would say yes. I would like Bryce Harper. But with him on the Phillies, yeah, I'd like to punch Bryce Harper. So there it is. I'm not saying I could take Bryce Harper. I know this comes up on my shows a lot here, who I can beat up and who I can't beat up, and usually it comes out where I can't beat any of these people up because they're professional athletes and I'm not. So I'm a professional Hammenegger. So there's a really good chance that I couldn't beat up Bryce Harper, but I'd take a swing at him. If it came to it, and he's came up wearing that stupid Philly fanatic, who is, my opinion, probably the best mascot in all of professional sports, if not all of sports. But anyway, he wears that stupid Philly fanatic bandana, and his long, goofy ass hair. If he came up to me wearing that stupid bandana, and he said, let's go at it, Fry. All right, Bryce Harper, you're going down, bitch. I'd take a swing at him again. There's a really good chance that he's going to move out of the way. He's going to dodge that punch and take me down pretty quick. But I'd take the shot. I'm not afraid. A little bit afraid, but not all afraid. Anyway, having a little bit of fun here now. Another very disappointing thing that seems to be a reoccurring theme right now are the Mets bats. The Mets bats stay cold over the last few games here. Last few games, not scoring over 3 runs. I can't think of the scores off the top of my head right now. We lost last night 6-2. What was the score? I think the day before was the win was 3-2, I believe. No, it was 3. Was it 3-0? No, it was 3-2. It was 3-2. Yeah, it was 3-2 because Diaz got in for the save. There was a runner on, and the dude from the Toronto Blue Jays hit the ball to the fence. That would have been a walk-off if it would have went on over. That would have made it 4-3. So there's a 3 right there. The loss to Cincinnati, I guess. Was it Cincinnati? On a Sunday? Monday? What the hell day was that? Was it Sunday? I think it was Sunday. I think that we scored 0 there. So yeah, it's been tough sledding for a large part of the lineup here recently. Lindor was super hot. He's kind of cooled off a little bit, almost to the point of slumping. And we don't need that at all. We need him to be hitting. He's the catalyst. He's the engine here. He's our steam engine that pulls this train along here. And if he's struggling, it seems like everybody else is struggling. But looking at a couple guys here, just from last night's game, Nimmo had an RBI in the first. He was 1 for 4. Lindor was 1 for 4 with a walk and a strikeout. Vientos 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts. Alonso 0 for 3, 1 strikeout. He was also hit by a pitch, so he did make it on base, but still got hit by a pitch, and he didn't hit the ball at all. The ball's hitting him now. He's not hitting the ball's hitting him. That's where we're at. I think it was last night's game. I think I was listening to it at this point where there's a couple guys on, and it was Mets were down 5-2, and he struck out. It sounded like it was a really good at bat, if I remember correctly, but he ended up striking out looking. I think it was a high and outside, and the umpire last night. I'm pretty sure it was last night. The umpire from last night was calling the high strikes. Yes, it was definitely last night. So I remember that one curveball that was called a strike on I think it was Vientos that he was kind of pissed about. It was according to the K zone, it dropped in, but it looked high. But anyway, Alonso 0 for 3 with a strikeout hit by pitch. Francisco Alvarez, and just absolute terrible slump for the majority of the season now since he came back off the injured list after injuring his thumb. He was 1 for 4, 2 strikeouts. And JD Martinez, whose wife just had a child, he was 0 for 4. Hit the damn ball for your kid, JD. The hell. But all these guys are big parts of our lineup, main parts of our lineup, and they are just struggling right now. Each one of them. You can even throw Starling Marte in there if you'd like to. But anyway, I'm not going to, because who the hell knows when this guy's going to play. Plays, he doesn't play. He plays, he doesn't play. Dude's broken down. Got to figure out how to get rid of him. But looking over this past 7 days, so I went to ESPN and pulled some stats from there. They do have a stat line where it says past 7 days. I looked up stats for past 7 days for these guys. So I'm going to go over that real quick. Past 7 days, 6 games for Nimmo. He's 4 of 22, 1 RBI, 2 walks, 5 Ks. Lindor, 6 games, 4 of 24, 1 double, 3 walks, 5 strikeouts. Vientos, 5 of 22, 2 home runs, 4 RBI. Those 2 home runs came in 1 game. 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. Alonso, 3 of 19, a double, an RBI, 3 walks, 8 strikeouts. Those 8 strikeouts for Vientos, 7 of those 8 have come in the past 4 games. 6 of the 8 have come in the past 3 games. Alvarez, 3 for 14, an RBI, 4 walks, 5 strikeouts. JD Martinez, 4 games, 3 of 16 a double, 4 RBI, no walks, and 5 strikeouts. All said and told, the total of all those guys, Nimmo, Lindor, Vientos, Alonso, Alvarez, and Martinez, our main guys in our lineup, our big guns in our lineup, that makes our lineup scary. These guys are the guys that make our lineup scary. Over the past 7 days are 22 for 117, which is a .188 average, with just 3 doubles, 2 home runs, which again were Vientos in one game, 11 RBI, 14 walks, 36 strikeouts. That's hot garbage. That is shit. That is trash. That's not going to get it done. That will not get the Mets into the playoffs if that continues. One guy, 2 guys, okay, but to having 6, lineup, basically our 1 through 6 there, basically pretty much struggling the way they are. Usually, Francisco Alvarez has been down towards the bottom of the lineup because of his struggles. But anyway, you get the idea. It's not going to get it done. It's trash. It's garbage. Like I said, 1 guy, 2 guys struggling, you can get by. 3, okay, but all these guys it just it can't happen. It has to change. Especially going to Philly, the Mets need to win today's game to win the series against Toronto Blue Jays. They need to continue winning series. If they continue winning series, they're playoff bound. And I lost my train of thought. My dog was barking. I'm thinking, what the hell is he barking at? So then I forgot what the hell I was going to say. Anyway, yeah, I lost it. So we'll move on from it. They need to hit the damn ball. If they're able to continue winning these series, they'll make the playoffs. They control their own destiny, basically. That's how you look at it, because they do have those. They do have those games with the Braves. And as long as they keep winning series, they should be all right. There is a chance that the Braves, for some crazy, chance that they go on a huge win streak. That obviously, if you're just winning series, but the other team's winning all their games, that's going to hurt you. So moving on from that, some bummer of a news. You have Jeff McNeil. He's out for the season. A few days ago, he was hitting a wrist against the Cincinnati Reds. You watch the video, it was kind of, you didn't think he was going to be hurt at all. It wasn't like it was a fastball. I believe it was a breaking ball. I think it was a curveball. I could be wrong. Or a sweeper, whatever the hell you want to call it nowadays. He gets hit. He kind of, gives the, and then there's this whole thing with his tongue out and everything or whatever. But then he's like, oh, I'm all right. His thumbs up and takes off all the protection and stuff like that. And he seemed to be all right. Well, then he gets pulled from the game. And it turns out that he has a fractured wrist. And if he does return this season, it would not be until about the league championship series. And so if that means if Jeff McNeil does return to the team, that means the Mets have been playing really, really good baseball. So with McNeil out, that leaves a spot open. So you figure McNeil's out. He's been filling mostly second base. He also has been doing a lot of outfield work. So you figure the second base spot would more than likely go to Jose Iglesias. And then you have more playing time for guys like Tyrod Taylor, Jesus Christ, I can't think of his name. Harrison Bader, Jesus. For Bader, Tyrone Taylor, Starling Marte, guys like that, continue rotating through, keep that rotation going. But that also leaves a spot open now with him out. And Mark Vientos again, would probably be your everyday third baseman. Occasionally they'd take him out and have Iglesias fill in there with McNeil at second base, Iglesias at third for defensive purposes. But for the most part, you're probably going to have Vientos at all third base. And, in my opinion, you should have Iglesias, starting second base every damn game. But, get to that in a second. The Mets, they did call up Pablo Reyes as their as the roster's expanded there. It was September 1st, I believe. That was their minor league call up. And and then they DFA him because they traded for Eddie Alvarez. To make room for Eddie Alvarez, they had a DFA Pablo Reyes. So we'll see what happens with Pablo, see if he kind of falls through and returns back to AAA Syracuse. We'll have to wait and see. It usually takes a couple days. But they trade for Eddie Alvarez from the Red Sox, I believe it was, infielder, second baseman. And so they get him. They move him from AAA. They promote him up to the Mets, to the big club. And last night he got the start. His first action was as a pinch runner, and he scored the I don't know if it was a tying or the go-ahead run in the game 2 nights ago. But anyway, he did score as a pinch runner on a pass ball, a wild pitch, whatever you want to call it. But yesterday he gets a start. He didn't look bad in the field. He looked decent in the field. At the plate, me personally, I want to see Jose Iglesias out there. Eddie Alvarez, I really don't want to see out there unless it's an emergency. I just don't see why we're in September, why guys need days off right now. This is the stretch run. This is, every game is important. Every game you should have your best 9 out there unless there's some sort of injury, nagging, or, that they need that day off because of an injury, just to kind of heal it up or rest or whatever so they can go the next day. But I don't think that's the case. So I don't know why Jose Iglesias is not starting every day. He should be. So that is what it is. Just like JD Martinez, he should be out there every day as well. Jesse Winker, he should get a lot of playing time, if not almost every day in the outfield. He's a bigger bat that we got from Washington at the trade deadline. So guys like that, there's no reason why they should not be in the lineup at all. In my opinion, you need all hands on deck, straight to the end here. And it's coming down to the nitty gritty. I don't think guys should be getting days off, except for the catcher. And the Luis Torrens, basically has been outplaying Francisco Alvarez. As upsetting as that sounds, as a Mets fan, Alvarez is our golden child here. Young kid, terrific upside. Had a nice power season last year, his first season up with the Mets. Wins that starting job, and then the season coming in. Looks great to start the season off, then gets hurt in May. And it's been just a downward spiral since then for him. But Luis Torrens, thrown out 60% of base stealers. Again, a small sample size for Luis Torrens, but still, that's a lot. Yeah, it's impressive. The league averages in the 20s, somewhere like 22, 24%, somewhere around there, and he's in the 60 percentile. Crazy impressive. But anyway, it's your best 9 should be starting. That's how I look at it. What else do we got here? Paul Blackburn, starting pitcher. If you remember, going back a few weeks ago, he got hit on a comebacker against somebody, I don't remember who. Was it the Diamondbacks maybe? But anyway, he's been out since then. He had a rehab start. Everything seemed to go fine. Then he was the day before his scheduled start with the Mets, his return with the Mets. He was out running and tweaked something in his back. He couldn't even run. So I'm not sure what's going on with him, how long he's going to be out. But Tyler McGill took his spot in the rotation. And last time out, Tyler McGill pitched very, very well. Don't remember exactly what it was. I think I did not write it down. But anyway, he pitched very well last time out, Tyler McGill, and he's attacking the zone. He looked good. Tyler McGill looked very good. So if we can get that Tyler McGill this Sunday or Monday, again, not sure which day, David Peterson's going to be starting. Should be against the Phillies, and then that would mean McGill would start against Washington. But we'll have to wait and see for official word on that. That's what it seems to be pointing at, though. I'd rather have one of my best pitchers for most of the season, David Peterson, going up against the Phillies instead of the guy that's been super, super inconsistent. All right. So who's next? We have the Toronto Blue Jays today at 3:07 p.m. Sean Manaea versus Bowden Francis, and I think they have Bowden Francis listed as a starter for today's game, but he's a bullpen arm, so I'm guessing that's going to be a bullpen game. I don't know. I hate bullpen games; they drive me nuts, but it is what it is. But we'll see when it starts. So that's what it said on ESPN, and that's where I get most of my crap from, stats wise. Manai is 11-5 with 3.43 ERA, 163 Ks, a 1.10 WHIP. Last time out, he went 6 2/3 innings pitched, 3 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 home runs, 2 walks, 2 home runs given up, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. That was in a 6-4 extra innings win against, was it the Reds, I think? I don't remember if it was the Reds or the Red Sox. It was Red something. I don't know. So that's what we got going on for today in Mets land. And then, let me adjust my notes here so I can see it. Let me take a sip of my iced tea here out of my Wayne Enterprises, Bruce Wayne. All right, got a couple more comments here before I get to the next topic here. Yuki says, you worried about the Mets making the economy playoffs? If yes, then somewhat extremely worried. What the hell is the economy playoffs? I don't know what that is. You worried about the Mets making the economy playoffs? If yes, then somewhat worried. Extremely worried. I don't know what the economy playoffs are. I don't know what you mean by that, Yuki. Oh. Spell check. All right. I am worried about the Mets making the playoffs. I do think that they have a tough schedule, a tough road to the playoffs, to make the playoffs. But the way I look at it is the other 3 teams do as well. So and actually, you lead me right to my next topic. Actually, my next 2 topics, but I'm going to go ahead and read those off before I answer your question. We got the standings. So the standings we have, I'm just going to do the wild card standings. The Mets and Braves are 8 games back from the Phillies, so I'm not even going to do that. The wild card, you have San Diego in the lead right now, 82-64. They're at plus 2.5. 6-4 in their last 10. They won last night. Arizona, 81-64. They're at plus 2 games ahead of the final spot. They're 5-5 in their last 10, winners of 2 in a row. The Mets and the Braves are tied for that final spot, both at 79-66. The Mets are 8-2 in their last 10, losers of 1 in a row. And the Braves won last night against Washington 12-0. So the Braves are 79-66, 5-5 in their last 10. And just outside of that, 4 games back, you have the Cubs. They're 75-70. Like I said, 4 games back of that final spot. So they're still kind of hanging around the Cubs. There's still a chance that they could do it. But they're 6-4 in their last 10, winners of 3 in a row. The reason I wrote the Cubs down there, because you look at the schedule of some of these teams here, there's a chance. There's a chance the Cubs go on a run. I didn't look at the Cubs schedule, though, so they might have a tough-ass schedule, too. I'm not really sure. But, looking at these schedules, it could be tough. So that brings me to the next topic, Yuki, which was what lies ahead for the Mets, Braves, Diamondbacks, and Padres. Should the Mets drop Alonso and Nimmo to the bottom of the lineup? No, I don't think they should drop them to the bottom of the lineup, not that far down. I still say you leave Pete at 4. I don't know who you could put it for because nobody's really hitting right now. I mean, yeah, you move Vientos back to 4. He hasn't been. He's been struggling a little bit. Move Pete to 5. He's JD Mart back up to 4. I don't know. This lineup, it's tough because there's so many pieces that are struggling right now that it's tough to say. They do need to kind of move it around a little bit, but I just don't think dropping Alonso and Nimmo to the bottom of the lineup would be the answer. But I'm for change. I am for change. I am for the Mets trying something different. And if that means, as odd as it sounds, Pete sixth and Nimmo seventh, then do it. It's no time for feelings. Your feelings, if Pete's feelings get hurt or Brandon Nimmo's feelings get hurt because they get dropped that far in the lineup, and so be it. It is what it is. Um, be professional about it. That's all. Should the Mets play Bader at center field no matter what? I think so. I think so. He's a terrific center fielder. He has been struggling at the plate again. Most of these guys struggling at the plate recently, but he seems to come up with a lot of big hits. I like his aggressiveness on the bases. Sometimes it does bite him in the ass, but a lot of times it does lead to good things. So yeah, I do believe they should start Bader in center almost all the time. It's just laid out there. I think I would choose him over Tyrone Taylor, but I'm not saying that Tyrone Taylor shouldn't get any time either. I have no problem with Tyrone Taylor, filling in right field or even coming in later in the games in center field for an at bat or so. But I think the bulk of at bats and playing time should go to Harrison Bader. That's just my thoughts. I felt that way the whole season. I absolutely have. I've mentioned on it here before how I thought Bader's had a really good season. In this recent stretch, maybe not so much, but for the season as a whole, I thought he's played very well. He's for the most part, he's been fairly durable. He was on the injured list I think once this season. I don't know if he made the IL or not, but I know he was out for a couple of games one part of the season for an injury, but it hasn't been often. And I like Bader over Taylor. Taylor does have good speed; he does steal bases for you, but Bader can do the same thing. And so yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Any of your family and friends ask you what Hawk Tua means? So my kids have not asked me what Hawk Tua means. My wife does know what Hawk Tua means, and not to put that in a perverted way or nothing like that. She's an adult; she understands. She gets it, and she has used it in a funny manner. She sent me I don't remember, it was a meme on something, and it got me cracked up. I was laughing. It was funny the way it was used. But yeah, it was. The kids, they have not brought it up, which is good. I don't need to have that conversation. I don't want to have that conversation, and I would probably lie my ass off about what it means. So, but my friends, I'm 44 years old. If they don't know what the Hawk Tua means, then yeah, I mean it's. I don't understand like why she threw out the first pitch at a game. I like still boggles my mind. But this year we've had the Grimace run, we've had the Hawk Tua run. Who else did we have? We had somebody else throw out a first pitch early in the season. I think it was Grimace. But yeah, it's the whole Hawk Tua thing is. I still think it's funny. So if I see the video, I still think it's funny. That whole interview, she goes on to a pretty lengthy interview, very sexual in nature, and kind of funny. So, but anyway, so looking what lies ahead for the Mets, Braves, D-backs, and Padres, and so you look at the Mets. Coming up, they have 3 at Philly, 3 versus Washington, and that's it then for the Mets. For games that are supposed to be easy. Now, I'm not saying that the Washington Nationals are going to be easy because there's a chance Mets go in there and lose 2 out of 3. It's just this the way things happen with the Mets and against lesser opponents. Washington has played them tough at times this season. And I even think the last series they played against each other, I feel like Washington may have won that series or something, like they put up a really good battle against the Mets. But I feel like Washington probably won the last series they played against the Mets a few months ago. But after that, they have 4 first to Phillies. That's the Mets' final home games, the last 4 games at Citi Field during the regular season. Hopefully, there are more in the playoffs. Then they travel to Atlanta for 3, and then they travel to Milwaukee for 3. Milwaukee first place in their the Central Division. Atlanta fighting for that wild card spot with the Mets, and the Phillies leading the NL East. So it's a pretty rough road for the Mets. So we look at Atlanta. They have 4 against the Dodgers coming up this weekend, and Dodgers leading the West. One of the best teams in the league. That's a team that put a lot of money out there in the field this season. You got the potential MVP there in Shohei Ohtani. You saw Freddie Freeman and Mookie Betts. I'm not. Is Mookie hurt? Why do I feel like Mookie's hurt? I don't know. But still, the Dodgers are crazy good, crazy talented. So there's that. 3 at Cincinnati. They just got shut out by Cincinnati a couple days ago, so that's not an easy stretch there. But they are a below 500 team, so those are 3 games that the Braves should win, or at least win that series. 3 at Miami. Again, that's the bottom dwellers here in the East. So those are 3 games or a series that the Braves should win, and 3 versus the Mets. And then the final 3 of the Braves season against the Kansas City Royals is going to be interesting. So the Royals are fighting for a playoff spot as well. Right now they're sitting in the 2nd spot in the AL wild card. So it may very well come down to those last 3 games where Kansas City needs wins to get in or wins to secure a spot. And the same with the Braves. So that's no, gimme either. So you look at those series, they have 5 series left. 3 of the 5 are against teams that are above 500 and teams that are battling for playoff spots. And the Dodgers are basically in a playoffs or in the playoffs. Not quite yet, but there's no reason why they should miss. So you look at Arizona. So if you compare the Braves to the Mets, the Braves easier schedule left than what the Mets have. Arizona, 3 versus Milwaukee. Like I said, the leaders in the Central there. 3 at Colorado. Colorado's tough at home, but still they're Colorado. So that's a series that Arizona can win. 4 more at Milwaukee. So they played Milwaukee in Arizona. Now they're going to Milwaukee. So again, that's tough sledding there for Arizona. 3 versus San Francisco, who's been a feisty bunch this season. They hung around the wild card contention for the longest time. Now they're probably 7 back, 6, 7 back, so they kind of fell out a little bit, but still a tough out. And then they have they finished season up with 3 versus San Diego. So you look at this, and they have 1, 2, I'd say 4 of those series against teams with winning records. I think San Francisco has a winning record. If not, that's pretty close. It's close to 500. So it's tough sledding for Arizona. Compared to the Mets, probably fairly close to equal. I would say the last 5 series as to what's tougher. The Mets' last 5 might be a little bit tougher, but if it is, it's not by much. San Diego's final 5 series. 3 at San Francisco, 3 versus Houston, who's leading the AL West. 3 versus the White Sox. That's should be 3 wins. That shouldn't be just win a series. That should be 3 wins. But then they finish up 3 at Los Angeles Dodgers and 3 at Arizona. So that's huge right there. That last series, 3 with Arizona, it's monstrous. The 3 at the Dodgers, that's going to be huge because that's too early yet for the Dodgers to be resting people because they should have a spot clinched probably by then or around that time. But it's too early to start resting people. That last series that the Dodgers would have, whoever it's against, that's where you normally see teams that are clinched, start really giving their guys are a game or two off to rest for the playoffs. So that's a tough time to be facing the Dodgers right there, as it's still kind of not at the end of the season, not rest time yet. So I think the Padres have a very comparable schedule to what the Mets have and Arizona. So the way it looks like Atlanta probably has the easiest schedule ahead so far, with Cincinnati and Miami on there. A couple teams that are under 500. Again, Arizona, you have it at Colorado. They're under 500. San Francisco's around 500, so I'll give them credit and say they're at 500 or above. I can't remember for sure what it was. So that's only one team under 500. Then San Diego, they play San Francisco, but they also have the White Sox, who's the worst team by far in the league. But they also play Houston and the Dodgers. So it's the way it looks. If you break it down, I would say the Mets probably have the toughest schedule going forward. But then I would say probably San Diego, then Arizona, then Atlanta. So there's no gimme here. San Diego, Arizona only being 2 games up, 2.5 games up. Their spots are not solidified at the 1 and 2 there either. It could be one series. It could all change one series. You look at the next series, 3 Mets for 3 at the Philly. Atlanta's 4 at the Dodgers, 4 versus the Dodgers. It's in Atlanta. Arizona 3 at home against Milwaukee, and then San Diego 3 at San Francisco. And it's none of those are gimmies. So, we might be talking come next Wednesday how Atlanta's the top spot, the Mets are the second spot, and Arizona's the third spot with San Diego a game back. You just don't know. It's going to be a lot of fun coming down the stretch here. Hopefully it stays tight. I don't want to see anybody fall out. I don't want to see the Mets fall out. Be honest with you, I don't want to see Atlanta fall out right away either. I want to see them fall out, just not right away, because it's exciting. It's good stuff. It makes it more fun to watch when everything's super tight like that. But I do hope Atlanta does fall out, and I hope they lose their last 6 games, 3 against the Mets and 3 against the Royals. I hope they lose all of them. So that'd make me happy. All right. So that's all I have for today. I'm going to go ahead and read our sponsor. Do our sponsor read here. Get all that crap off the screen so I can do it. There we go. And of course, our sponsor, as usual, is Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. You can reach Big Al at 1-800-HURT-123. That's 1-800-HURT-123. Jason Fine specializes in motor vehicle accidents, slip and fall, workman's comp, and personal injury claims. He has 3 office locations conveniently located throughout Pennsylvania and New Jersey. His office in New Jersey is located in Cherry Hill on 3 Greensward Lane, and the phone number there is 856-209-5258. And his office is in Pennsylvania. He has one in Pittsburgh at 500 Grant Street, Suite 2900. The phone number there is 412-365-8151. And in Philadelphia, the offices are located on 1628 JFK Boulevard, Suite 2120. The phone number there is 267-888-2980. That's Jason Fine, attorney Big Al. All right, so that's all I have for today. Thank you, everybody, for checking it out. Thanks for the comments. Eileen, Yuki Matsui, and the spammer from Twitch that I did not post. Tell me how to get more viewers by paying them money, and I'm not going to do it. So don't send me any more spam comments. Comment for real. All right. You can check me out. I'll be live tomorrow morning again, hopefully, with the Silver and Black Lair Raiders edition. I'll be talking about the Raiders letdown this past Sunday and a look ahead to this upcoming Sunday against the Baltimore Ravens. And then, of course, we will have the Atomic Drop podcast. I have to get with the guys to see if we're going Friday or Saturday. I'm not sure yet. And we'll put it up. We'll put it out there. So check me out tomorrow morning, 10 a.m., talking Raiders. If not, then check me out for wrestling, WWE Wrestling on the Atomic Drop podcast. If not, then come back next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel here on Out of the Box Sports Entertainment, Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch. Give us a like, follow, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel. I beg of you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I will see you guys next Wednesday. Let's go, Mets!